Hello everybody, and welcome to an awesome episode. In today's episode, guys, we are going to be removing a manual transmission out of this 1997 328i, basically 4-door convertible, 2-door. It's all the same to remove this transmission, guys. Also, if you have an earlier model like a 92 or something, or a 4-cylinder, it's all very similar, guys. This video will definitely benefit you. The process is basically the same for all of them, but this one covers specifically this model here and that model, guys. And the reason there's two of them here is because actually what's going on here, so bear with me here, don't get off this video, it's gonna be a good one, guys. So I bought this BMW for $1,300, guys. Not bad, right? It has a lot of broken stuff on it. We're gonna have episodes about everything, but the main thing that's broken on it now is the transmission's broken. And this one actually has an automatic transmission. An automatic transmission for one of these is like $3,000, $3,500, right? So obviously I'm not gonna pay that. So what I did, guys, is I ended up buying a whole car. See, there it is right there, guys, for $500, guys. Not bad at all. So I got all the parts I need to fix this one, but that one is a manual transmission, right? So what I'm gonna do, guys, is I'm gonna pull the manual transmission out of that car, and I'm gonna do a transmission swap on this car, turning this car into a manual transmission. So what we're gonna cover in this video, guys, is we're gonna cover the removal of the manual transmission, guys, out of this car here, guys. So the reason you should watch this video, guys, is one, if let's say your clutch went on yours, you're gonna have to pull the transmission out. So this video will benefit you for that. Two, if you're doing an automatic to a manual swap, you're gonna know what components you need. I'll show everything that you got to take out in order to swap an automatic to a manual, right? And I'm gonna show you the whole process without breaking bolts. I'll show you how to do everything. I'm not gonna skip nothing. It's gonna be very detailed video, guys. So let's get pulling of this transmission right now, guys. Okay, guys, so the first absolute thing you have to do, guys, is you have to disconnect your battery. That's step number one, guys. Step number two, guys, is you have to get the car off the ground. But remember, if you're using jack stands, first of all, you got to do more than just jack stands. You don't want to die. So I'm going to leave this part up to you, but be extremely safe. This is the best setup that I know of. You get some wheels like that. That way it can't roll off. Because you got to keep in mind, the second you disconnect the drive axle, the car's basically in neutral. It could roll off. Also, jack stands can sink into asphalt. Plus, sometimes they do fail. So you need more than just one jack stand on each corner. Plus, another problem is a lot of times these cars are completely rusted out, and a jack stand will just go right through the floor there and there. And guess what, guys? If a car falls on you, you're dead. So put it up high, make it safe. That's step number two. Okay, guys, step number three, you're gonna have to remove the exhaust. I'm gonna show you exactly how to do that. And for that, you are gonna need just a $15 blowtorch like this, guys, in order not to break your bolts where your exhaust attaches to your exhaust manifold. Let me show you. Okay, guys, just so you can get familiarized with what's what here. So we're going underneath the car, as you can see. So right here is your exhaust pipes. These are easy to pull out as long as you don't break those bolts. So these are the bolts we're taking off, see? Those ones there, 1, 2, 3. I already took a whole bunch of them off. I'm just left one so I could show you how to do it. And then there's 3 more in there. You get to them very easy, guys. All you gotta do, grab yourself a 14 mil, a couple extensions, and what you do is you put it on like this, and that's how you reach all of them, right? And then what you do is, you might have to use 2 extensions or 1. You grab a hammer, and you hammer this thing. See, the hammering is what loosens it, so it doesn't get seized. Okay, once you hammer it quite a bit, see, now your socket fits on there now. See, we hammered it in, it fits good. You gotta have it in all the way. So then you take it off, right? And what you're gonna do now is you're gonna grab that little blowtorch, and for 3 minutes, you're gonna hold it like this, and you're gonna heat this thing up for 3 minutes. I've done this to every single bolt. Just hold it on the bolt. That will expand the bolt, and it will come off no problem without breaking anything. So 3 minutes, guys, with a $15 blowtorch, no big deal, just like that. Okay, guys, I heated up for 3 minutes, easy access to do it. You hammer this back on, grab this, you grab a bar, and there we go, guys. And if it's really, really going hard, what you do is you do a couple turns with it, and then you switch it, and then you put it back in. See, and with each time, it starts to get easier. If it feels like it's gonna break, you just screw it back in, spray some WD-40 on it, and that's how you get these off, guys. Okay, so I'm gonna get this off, and we're moving on. Okay, guys, now that we got that off, and there's no exceptions here, you get yourself a baggie, you write exhaust on it, and every single bolt related to the exhaust is gonna go into this baggie, guys. And that's how you do it, and you put it in a nice safe place, and you move on. See, you don't know what's gonna happen. Maybe it'll take you a month to put it all back together. You're gonna end up forgetting, and you're gonna be missing bolts and stuff. This is what you do with every single bolt, guys. Just teaching you how to do it right. Okay, let's move on. Okay, just so you can familiarize yourself with everything. So now what you gotta do is we're gonna go underneath the car, guys, and see right here, there is like a cross member, see it? From there to there, see this thing? So we're gonna loosen these bolts, spray WD-40 on everything. We also sprayed WD-40 on these bolts. I sprayed them like the day before because I knew I was gonna be doing that. WD-40 on everything. So obviously pretty straightforward. One bolt there, one bolt there. I'm taking that off right now. So I'm just pulling this off here, see, and if it gets to a point where it's hard, like right now, it's basically doesn't want to go. I feel like it will break. So what you do is you spray WD-40 on it and you drive it back in, get it? You put it all the way back in, just like this. And once it's in, you start taking it out again. And with each time, you go a little bit further. And yes, it takes a while to get it out, but this way, see, we went past the point already. This way you're not breaking bolts, guys. Breaking one of these bolts would cost you more problems than you know. And there you go, guys. We got it out, no broken bolts. And we're actually missing this piece on our white car, guys. So this is perfect. We got another free piece for 500 bucks. Tranny, everything we need. Pretty good score, guys. Best way to get a tranny for one of these is to buy a rusted out parts car. Okay, so now this thing, I'm gonna remember from this video how it goes on. Okay, guys, so the way this goes back on, see how there's like a bigger lip and a smaller lip? So the bigger lip goes towards the back of the car. So obviously I'm gonna remember that from this video, guys. Okay, we're moving on. Okay, guys, next what we gotta do, there really isn't much holding this exhaust on anymore. There's just right here at the back, see, there's basically a bolt there on the muffler, and there's one on that side. They're pretty rusty. I'm probably gonna lose these two hangers. I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna spray them and do the same trick, go backwards, forwards. Hopefully they don't break. So I'm gonna take those off right now, and that will release the muffler. So I'm gonna do that off camera, guys. I mean, you guys get the idea here. So I'm gonna remove that right now. Okay, well, that came off. Okay, guys, it did come off. I can admit when I made a mistake. I should have disconnected the oxygen sensors first. So I'm gonna do that right now. Somebody's got these wires zip tied on here. Just gonna cut these and disconnect them, and that should be that. See, guys, right there, they're just two plugs. You just unplug these so you don't have to cut your wires or nothing. See what I mean? Pretty straightforward. Just pry these out here with a screwdriver on each side, and this will pop right out, guys. Okay, guys, the exhaust is out just like that. Super duper easy. So I'm actually gonna keep this exhaust, because when I'm taking that exhaust off, if this one's in better shape, then this one's going on. Whatever's in better shape, I'm gonna put on that car, guys. Okay, guys, let's move on. Okay, guys, so since I only drove this car actually one time to check the transmission, I just drove it up and down the road once, put it through all the gears. There's no radiator in the car, like it's leaking gas everywhere, so it was hard to test. I decided I'm gonna grab a 17 mil and I'm gonna drain the fluid out of the transmission really quick, because I want to see how much fluid is in it and what it looks like. Just be, you know, just so I'm not wasting my time pulling this out if there's no fluid or something. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put it all in there, and then I'm gonna see how much came out, check my book, make sure the level was correct. Okay, so I'm gonna do this right now. This way, if you know it's a little bit low, maybe we gotta change some seals or something once this tranny's out. Okay, doesn't look bad. Lots is coming out. Okay, and this is like a magnet that collects little metal shavings or anything. It's looking really good, guys. Good sign. I think that transmission's gonna be mint condition. Okay, so I'm gonna plug that up and we're gonna see how much fluid came out. Okay guys, so the manual transmission takes capacity from dry 1.3 quarts, which is 1.23 liters, which is exactly what came out of the transmission, guys. See, there's a liter 0.23, so it's bang on. It had the right amount of fluid, so the tranny should be good, no issues. Okay, let's move on. Okay guys, the next thing we have to do is remove the starter, guys. That is our next step. If you have a 4-cylinder engine, it's your lucky day, because you can remove the starter pretty much in the same process that we're about to remove it. But on the 6 cylinders, guys, we have to remove the intake manifold, guys, unfortunately, to get to the starter. So the first thing you got to do is you have to depressurize your fuel system. In our case, we have a major gas leak, so we don't have to do it. It's already depressurized. So the way you would do that, with the battery connected, you open up your fuse box here and you pull out the fuse for the fuel pump. So you pull it out and then you crank your engine until it stalls. Once the engine stalls, it's depressurized, you disconnect your battery back up. So that's how you depressurize your fuel system. So that's step number 1. Okay guys, next what we're gonna do, guys, is we're gonna remove this air box. There's just a couple screws here. Ours is already kind of removed. Plus ours is missing, so we're also taking this and putting it in our beautiful white car, guys. Somebody put in a cold air intake. Not a good idea on these cars, guys. The computer doesn't know what's going on. It actually makes your car slower. So keep your original air box. Plus that way you're getting clean air. Okay, the second thing we're gonna take off is this mass airflow sensor and this rubber boot here. And there's also a hose underneath that goes into it. So we're gonna pull that out. And those hoses underneath there, guys, are notorious for breaking and having vacuum leaks and making your car run like crap. So if your car's ever not running good, check that hose. Okay, so I'm gonna remove this stuff off camera. It's pretty straightforward. Couple clamps, and I'm just gonna pull all this off right now. Okay guys, so that all came out super easy, no issues there. And of course, just as I said, see, this hose was busted on there. I do have a video, guys, where I actually repair that. This is actually episode 4 of this white BMW, guys. So thanks for watching episode 4. So in episode number 3, I get the motor running because it was running like an old tractor, guys. And I have an episode about that exact pipe there. And I show you in that episode how to build one for like $20 using like Napa parts. And it's super good. It'll never break. So check that video out. Watch the whole series, guys. This is season 2, actually. Season 1, I have about 30 episodes, guys. And I do a complete restoration on this beautiful car here, guys. So just filling you in. Okay, back to what we're doing here. So what we need to do now, guys, is we need to remove this stuff here. On some models, you can just remove this, and on other models like this one, unfortunately, guys, we have to remove the wiper arms. I can't believe you have to remove the windshield wiper arms to take out the transmission, but that is what you have to do, guys. So let's remove these first. So right here, see, there's little plastic things. You just put a screwdriver in there and pop these off. So we're gonna do that right now. See, guys, just like that. We're gonna spray some WD-40 on both of those. And we got a 13 millimeter. Let's pull these off just on a ratchet like this, guys. Nothing to it, right? That doesn't even need WD-40. Okay, guys, so we got the bolts off and these are rusted on stuck. So we're gonna fill this with WD-40 just like that. We'll have to give it 10 minutes, let it soak in. We're gonna do that to both of them, guys. And then we're gonna try getting these off. Okay, guys, you just gotta kind of, there it goes. So I got one of them. It wasn't easy. The WD-40 definitely helped. Okay, guys, so now we grab a little baggie, wipers. and we know what's for the wipers. Okay, let's move on. Okay guys, so next we got these like little screw things here. So basically you just unscrew these. We're gonna try to get this thing out, and we're saving this because ours on our car is completely destroyed. It's all bent and cracked and stuff. So we're gonna make this one look nice and use it on the other car. And then you just pull this off, see? And it'll pop off. So I'm just gonna pull that off right now off camera. Okay guys, I got it out. This part was like in here, and I actually had to loosen the hood, and I moved the whole hood forwards to be able to get it out. So I just wanted to point that out. Also, like this broken stuff here, see, we can just peel this off, which is what I'm gonna do. Then I'm gonna wash this whole thing, and I'm gonna take a blowtorch and I'm gonna turn this to black again. Let me just quickly show you. So there it is guys, not looking very good. And honestly guys, when this car is done, it's gonna look brand new. It's all the little stuff that makes a difference. So just quickly showing you this off topic here, but see what I mean? So we can quickly have that looking beautiful. First gotta wash it and prep it. Anyways, let's move on. Okay guys, so the next thing we gotta do guys is we gotta remove this plastic piece here. It does come off. So first we need to remove the wiring harness from it. So in here, see there's two Phillips head screws. So you loosen those, and then this whole harness will drop. So I'm gonna do that quickly right now. Okay guys, so I got like these harnesses disconnected here. So there's one bolt over here. It is a 7mm, and on the other side guys, there's two bolts. See, there's one there, and there's like one hiding behind there. You can get it with an extension. It's like right there. Can't really get it on camera. So I'm gonna remove those two, that one, and this thing should just slide right out. So I'm gonna do that right now. Okay, here it goes. Boom, and that's out. Okay guys, the next thing we're gonna do now is right here. This is for the brake booster. So we have to disconnect this. We might have to break this clamp and then put an actual clamp later when we're putting it all back together. So that's number one. And number two guys, is this cooling duct here for the alternator. We need to loosen this clamp, and this will just come right off. So we got to remove this. And the nice part is guys, this is completely broken on our white car guys. So another awesome part from our $500 parts car. Okay, I'm gonna off camera remove that and remove that. Okay guys, so as you can see, the brake booster is disconnected. We did everything we said we would do. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do guys is right here, we need to take this whole contraption off. There's a bolt there and there's a bolt there. So we're gonna take those two off. Don't worry, the gaskets are like rubber ones, so you can just put it back together without having to buy stuff. So we're gonna take this off, and once we got that off, we'll be able to get to 4 more bolts to get the other section of it off. So this whole thing's gonna come off, and we're gonna put it off to the side. So let me get this off first, 2 bolts. Okay guys, and just like that, both those bolts are off. So we get this thing off now. See what I mean? That's like a rubber kind of O-ring gasket, so you can just reuse it. So what we're gonna do now is this thing here, see? There is bolts in there. See what I mean? Nothing to it, guys. There's 4 of them, 2 there, 2 on the other side. You're gonna need a 10 mil with a little extension. Okay, I'm gonna pull this whole thing off now. Okay guys, we got the 4 bolts off. And just like that, this comes off, we can move it aside. Okay guys, so as you can see, we're having no complications. Everything's been super easy so far. Okay, let me show you what's next. There's 2 little brackets that need to come off. So right here, see, there's one of them. So there's a bolt underneath. Can you see that? Yes, you can. 10 millimeter there. And on the other side here, you have the exact same thing right here beside the oil check dipstick. Just right under there. You can get to it. So we're gonna use a 10 mil. We're gonna relieve these 2 brackets right now, guys, off camera. I don't need to show that, obviously. Okay, guys, and just like that, we got both those off. Absolutely no problems there. That one was a little tight, but we got it in there. And in your case, like in my case, like this cover is already off. But so what you got to do now is like you take these little clips out, and there's nuts in there, and you unscrew them. You got to get this cover off so you can expose the fuel rails, guys. So that's what we just did there. Okay, guys, next what we're gonna do is this whole fuel rail here. So we got a 10 mil there, a 10 mil there. This just has to come out. Pretty straightforward, right? And we're gonna like unplug all these. All you do is you just push on this. These are the best plugs. I mean, Chevy plugs always break when you unplug them. And these BMW ones, they're great. You just press this and you pull it out. I'm gonna need both hands to do this, but they work awesome. So I'm gonna do that right now, guys. Okay, guys, so I got those 2 bolts off. And I mean, the whole main point of pulling these off is to basically unplug this thing, which I already did, see? This, you have to kind of get it out to get it up, and then you move all this out of the way. See, now you got access to those bolts, see? Because you're gonna have to release those bolts to take this puppy off, guys. That's the only way you can get to the starter in this car. Pretty crazy, but honestly, now that you've watched this video, it's not all that bad, guys, as you can see. Okay, let's continue. Okay, guys, so what we got to do next is we have to release the 2 fuel lines. So as you can see, there's 2 fuel lines going in there somewhere. Can't see them, but so what you do is you pull them out of these 2 things, which I already did, and then underneath, right, so over there, so we're gonna go underneath right here, guys. I'm keeping the camera going so you know exactly where we're going here. See, there's basically like 2 clamps here. Very good access. See that? And right there, guys. See, you got 1 and 2. So we can release them both here, pull these off. So we got to do that next, guys. In our case, since this car will never run again, I'm just going to save some time and I'm going to cut them right there. I'm still going to cut them close because you never know. If I need some kind of part for the other one, if something breaks, I don't want to wreck this, right? But anyway, so I'm going to cut these here. You would just unclamp these and that would release your fuel lines. Okay, so I'm going to do that right now, guys. Okay, guys, so the fuel lines are disconnected. I did have a little bit of a spill, so make sure you got a fire extinguisher, garden hose ready, just in case. You don't want it going in your eyes or something. So just a heads up on that. Now we got to disconnect this hose here. You just squeeze these and it just comes off. Okay, so we got that off. All right, guys, let me show you what's next. Okay, guys, so I think we have everything. Depending on the model and your engine, there might be a few things you're still gonna have to disconnect underneath there. You'll see them as this whole thing is coming up. So what we're gonna do now, guys, is we gotta remove all those nuts there. See what I mean? So we're gonna loosen all of those and this thing should come out. And the other thing we have to loosen, which we already did here, is there was a bolt here just for the dipstick, see? So we loosen that. I think that's everything. Okay, I'm gonna loosen all those and let's try pulling it off. See, when I go to lift this, right, you're gonna be coming across the same problems here, see? See, the problem is these brackets, see, those go from there, see, right to there. See that bolt down there? So we got to take that bolt off and then this bracket will completely come out because those brackets, believe it or not, are like stuff's getting in the way, especially on that side. See, there's one there too. I apologize for the lack of focus here. It's not my fault. See that one? There's like stuff underneath it. So what we got to do, guys, is we got to unscrew this bracket and this bracket from the motor. There's one there and it's hard to see it, but it's in there. You can use your phone to see it on yours. Here, I'll get in there for you guys. Okay, guys, so there's that bracket, see? So right in there, kind of goes to the left, and there it is. So that's the bolts you got to get off. You might want to spray those with some WD-40, guys. Great stuff. Okay, so I'm going to do that right now, guys. It's the only thing I can do. All right, so we got the one bracket out. The other one's still in there, but it's completely loose. See? Okay, let's try pulling this out again. Okay, guys, it's coming out. I think the only thing holding it is, remember how I said that part there? It attaches, there's a hose that attaches to the dipstick at the bottom. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab some pliers, guys. Maybe it's hard to see, but see, there it is, right there. I'm gonna grab some pliers and I'm gonna, right there, and I'm gonna disconnect that hose. I think that's the last thing holding it. It doesn't even have a clamp on it. So I'm just gonna grab some pliers, turn it back and forth a few times, and that should just pop right off. Okay, let's do that. What is going on? Okay, so we got a couple of these. Oh, there's another plug we can disconnect. Okay, we should be labeling all these, guys. Okay, guys, as you can see, it's pretty much out. So on this thing here, there's a plug. See, we got to unplug this. And also, guys, this part here, if this ever comes out on you or pops out, your car will not run good. So like, and this hose breaks, just letting you know, like this is actually what was wrong with this car right here. When I got it, it ran like absolute crap. This hose was broken and this thing was out. So I do have a video about that. So this is a good opportunity, guys, like once you change your starter, or if you're watching this, to pull the transmission out, because I'm making two videos right now, a starter video, and also I'm making a how to pull your transmission out, because you have to get the starter out to get the transmission out, right? So when you're putting all this back together, guys, this is a great opportunity to change all your vacuum hoses. Like some of them are crappy, cracked, so you put all new vacuum hoses on everything. You have to double, triple check. Everything's got to be connected. If you have one vacuum leak on your whole entire system, your car's not going to run good. So like, see how crusty and old some of these are, and this car did not run good, and all of these were disconnected. Like whoever was in here doing something at some point, maybe changing the starter, who knows, they just put everything back together and they figured, oh, vacuum hoses aren't important. Like nothing was connected. So I already changed all the vacuum hoses on that car, but obviously I think I'm gonna have to remove all this on that car anyways to put the transmission in, because this transmission's going in there. You guys already know that though. Okay, so at this point, once I unplug this, I think we can move this out of the way enough to get to the starter, which is right there, guys. So, okay, let me just do that right now. Move this out of the way. Okay, guys, so as you can see, this thing is out of the way. So, I mean, now you can access your starter. So the one thing you want to do, guys, is see where we disconnected this hose. Let me just see here, right there. See how we disconnected that hose? So that goes directly into your oil pan. It's like part of this dipstick, right? So we're gonna put tape on there so nothing gets in there. And I mean, I don't know your situation. Like in our situation, this is a parts car, but this is a good motor that I'm keeping. So I'm gonna tape that up, and I'm also gonna like put some paper towels in here and tape all these up so nothing ever gets in there. So it's secure, right? And then this car can just sit here as a parts car. In your case, you should put something in these too, because even just paper towels or whatever, because you don't want like a bolt or nut falling in there. That will mess up your engine. So you just want to secure that. So once you do that, guys, I'm going to do that right now. And then as soon as that's all protected and good, we're going to move on to pulling the starter off, guys. Okay, guys, so we got these covered up just like I said we would. See, we just got plastic bags in them after all. That way nothing can get in there. We got that thing taped up. So now to remove the starter, guys. Okay, so what you need is a 12 millimeter E-Torx box wrenches set like this. Okay, guys, so in the description of this video, there will be a link to those wrenches so you can buy them. But if you don't have those wrenches, I'll show you what I'm using right now, because I actually don't have those wrenches. So I got just a wrench like this, a 3/8. So you're gonna put this end, right? You're gonna put it on the starter bolt. It's hard to see, I apologize, right? So you're gonna get it on the back of it like so. And believe it or not, guys, this does work. So you're gonna put it on there like this, right? It does fit. I mean, you should be using the proper wrenches, but if you don't have it, it does work. It's not gonna kill it. Okay, and then what you do is you take a really, really big wrench, like I got a 24 millimeter here, right? And you can put this on top of it, like so. See? And you can hammer that, and you can break that. Break it as in loosen it. And that's what I've been doing. So let me just quickly show you. See, guys, I got this one pushing on that one, and then I just grab my hammer here. See, it's going. And I broke it, I loosened it, and now all I gotta do is basically wrench this off, right? It's gonna take some time, but otherwise you would have to lower your whole motor and your transmission, right? I mean, we're still going to be doing that eventually, but in this case, if you're watching this video just to remove the starter, so that's how you get that bolt. And then there's another bolt, see right there. So I'm going to completely remove this one. Obviously, you would remove all your electrical things. And guys, label everything. Like, the only reason, like, you got to label the wire that you pull off and what you pulled it off of. And I put like a piece of tape and I write down like, you know, starter plug A, and then I put starter plug A on this wire. The only reason I haven't done that is because this is a parts car, guys, and I'm actually pulling the tranny out, right? And I'm never going to be fixing this. But when I do the exact same thing on that car, I'm going to be writing everything down. You always label everything that you disconnect, guys. Okay, so I'm going to pull that bolt out completely, and then I'll show you how to get the other one out. Okay, guys, so I got it out. There it is. See, it's an inverted torque specs E 12 millimeters. Like, that's what the socket is for it, but you can't get a socket in there. There's not enough room, right, because of the firewall and stuff. So you have to use a wrench. So what I'm gonna do, guys, is normally you would not have to disconnect this hose. You can do this whole process without disconnecting any hoses whatsoever for the coolant. But in our case, we're gonna disconnect this one just so I can show you guys better what's going on. See, there it is. So I'm just gonna disconnect this. Plus, this car is just a parts car, right? Okay, let me do that right now. Okay, guys, so I got that hose off, and let me show you the problem I'm having. So that bolt from somebody else at some point in life, I'm not too sure what happened, but it is a little bit stripped. Let me zoom in on it for you. See? So I'm not gonna risk it pulling this off with this. What we're gonna do, guys, is we're gonna leave the starter on for now, and we're gonna have to lower the whole transmission and motor setup like that, and then we're gonna be able to take a super long extension setup here with that M 12 millimeter inverted torque specs socket, see, and we'll be able to get in there and actually hammer it on. There won't be any issues. The problem is I can't hammer that wrench on, so it's not going on all the way. Somebody at some point changed the starter and stripped it, so no big deal, guys. We got everything ready to move on. So let's move on. And guys, just so I can show you here, see, when I put this thing on, check it out. Watch, I'll throw it on. Apologize for my hand being in the way. But see, it just doesn't want to go on all the way. But if I could put a hammer on that and hammer it in, it'll go right in, no problems. It'll pop right in there. And then later, we're gonna replace that one strip bolt, obviously. Okay, we're moving on. Okay, guys, well, as you can see, it's actually getting dark, even though it doesn't look like it. And I got some visitors, so you know what? I'm gonna wrap it up for today. And I'm gonna fast forward till tomorrow right now. Must work on BMW. Good morning, everybody. It is the next day. Let's get cracking. Okay, guys, we're done underneath the hood for now. Now we're moving on underneath the car, and what we need to work on under here is we're gonna be removing, guys, these these heat shields. See, there's one there, one there. It's basically, see, just 10 millimeter bolts, guys. Nothing complicated there. So I'm gonna remove that right now, just like that. And there we go, just like that, guys. We have access to the drive axle, which we are pulling off next, guys. And we actually need this drive axle because we are doing a manual swap from an automatic on our white car. And the drive axle is one of the things you will need because they are different lengths in an automatic. So that's coming out too, and it has to come out anyways when you're removing the transmission. Okay, so the first thing you have to do, guys, and this is very, very important, and there is a few different setups of this, but it's all very similar. You need a can of paint, and you have to mark your drive axle because it's balanced. Get it? If you take it apart and put it back together wrong, you have to get it rebalanced. It'll cause a vibration and wear out your bearings in your diff and in your transmission. Okay, guys, that's the front of the car. There's our transmission. There's our drive axle. So we grab some silver paint. There, now we know how that goes back together. We're gonna do the same thing here in case anything comes apart, depending on your model. Just like that. And we're doing the same thing in the back. See, now we'll know how to put it all back together, guys, and no big deal. Okay. All right, guys, so we got that painted up. Next, what we got to do, guys, is we have to remove this bracket here. This is going to require some hammering and some WD-40 and probably the blowtorch. If you're torching an area like this, be very careful, because inside you don't want something catching on fire, you know, around the rug. So you should have another person looking. In our case, these are so rusted, but they might not be in your case. So we're removing that. We got to unscrew these, so we're going to do that. And for now, that's the two things I'm going to do. I'm going to just get these off camera, and I'm going to do it just like that. And just like that, this thing is loose, and our bracket here is out. So that was easy, guys. So I'll show you what's next here. So there is a transmission hanger right here that we have to remove, guys. So this is also pretty easy. I already sprayed it with WD-40 and everything. So there's two bolts here that will disconnect this from the transmission, like the hangers here. See what I mean? So you're gonna loosen those, and then you're gonna loosen 1, 2, 3, 4. One bolt is broken here. I don't know what happened to it. But before you take this off, guys, you have to set up a jack here, and you have to support the transmission, because this actually holds the whole back of the motor and transmission setup from going down. So I'm just gonna set up a little scissor jack here on a couple like concrete. I got a concrete board here. I got a 2x4, and then I'll put the jack there. So let me just quickly set that up, and then I'll start removing this. I'm just gonna show you one thing though before we move on. So this rear bracket that we took off, remember? From under there, that one we just took off. So the two holes go towards the back of the car. See how it has holes in them like that? And this part goes towards the front of the car, in case you're struggling and you don't know which way yours went. Okay, I'm gonna go set up the whole transmission setup now. Okay, guys, so there it is. This is our setup. So we got a little block here on the transmission. See, so now we are in control of bringing the tranny up or down. So it'll stay where it is, and then we can even lower it with this setup. So what we're gonna do now is remove this whole hanger, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the only thing that's gonna be holding this transmission is our jack here, guys. So I'm gonna remove that right now. Also, guys, that hanger, we actually need that hanger, because that hanger is different on the automatic transmission. So the hanger and those little bushings, that's another thing, guys, that we're gonna have to keep for the other car. Okay, guys, and just like that, we unscrewed it, and there it goes. So now, watch, when I turn this, we're not ready to lower anything yet, but see, the whole transmission goes up and down. Very easy, just by turning this with your hand. Okay, guys, what we're gonna do next is we're gonna go over to the differential in the back. So we're gonna go over there. Let me reposition myself. Okay, we're at the back. This is where the drive axle goes into the diff, right? So you put on a 16mm socket, right? And then you grab yourself a bigger socket, a 22 or something. You put it on like this, right? Now remember, guys, so you pull this and you loosen it. But remember, when you're pulling on this, if your car's not secure, this is gonna wanna make the car roll. So if you got it on flat, if you got your car on flat or on ramps or something, you could literally drive this car off onto yourself. But in our case, it's secure on these deep dish rims. Okay, ready? There we go. So just like that, you're gonna remove them one at a time. We're gonna remove the two bottom two, and then we're gonna have to lift up the car from here with our jack, and we're gonna have to spin the wheels around to get this axle to spin. So that's one thing that we're gonna do. And the other thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take this guy here, and we're just temporarily gonna put this back on, just finger tight, because as soon as you remove this axle, you don't want it to fall on the ground. This will hold it. See what I mean? And then later we can just finger loosen these, and we'll be able to pull it off. So I'm gonna put this on. I'm gonna remove those two bolts, and if I can't get to the other two, we're gonna spin the wheels around, or spin the axle around. Okay, guys, so I got those two bolts off, see? And now in order to get the other two, I'm gonna have to spin the axle around, right? So I got the jack set up so I can lift the car up, spin it, and then put it back down so it's secure and safe. The only thing I realized, change the plan a little bit. So now that I got those two out, we're gonna go to the front of the axle, see? And there's 3 bolts that we gotta loosen here. 1, 2, 3. That's the ones. Like, you're not loosening these ones, guys. We're gonna leave this black donut thing on here. We're only gonna do these 3. So same thing, you grab them with the wrench. So I'm gonna loosen this one, spin the axle around, and then I'll have access to the other 2 and the ones at the back. So I'm gonna loosen this right now, guys, get this one out, and then spin this whole thing around. Okay, guys, so we got that bolt out. So obviously we're gonna have to spin this around to get to the other 2. So I just temporarily reattached these super just finger tight, just so nothing falls. And I'm still gonna throw that bracket on, but I'll do that right now, and I'm gonna spin the axle around. Okay, guys, I got the car in neutral. Make sure you put it in neutral. Both wheels are up in the air, so I'm just spinning the wheel, and there we go. See what I mean? So I'm gonna put it like that, and I'm gonna lower it a little bit so it locks it, and then I'm gonna remove that bolt. See, by putting the wheels back down, the transmission, the axle's not gonna spin, right? So you got it back down, it's safe. Okay, let's go remove some more bolts. Okay, guys, so we got all the bolts out there, and we got all the bolts out in the back. So the only thing that I kind of messed up here is, so when I jacked up the back of the car in order to spin the wheels, this little board fell out, and the tranny, see, as you can see, the engine does support it, right? But so what we got to do now is see how this is like not aligned, because the tranny's kind of hanging. So we're gonna have to lift the transmission up now. See how it's going up? So we're gonna have to lift it up to kind of like close this gap here. See, it's already happening. So that's what you got to do to get this out. So I'm gonna quickly lift that, and then in the back, okay, let's go to the back. Okay, so in the back here, see, what we gotta do is we're just gonna put a crowbar in here, and we gotta like separate this from this. Like, this will come out with the bolts. See, I already threw a crowbar in there, and it's already coming out. It's not a big deal, guys. See, just like this, put the crowbar in. See it? So it broke loose. So this part is ready to come out. Okay, so now we're gonna go back in the front. Okay, guys, we're gonna remove this centerpiece. All right, we're gonna remove this piece as well. Right here, this one. We're gonna remove them both and just kind of try to be underneath this and bench press it out, guys. I'm gonna put the camera in a different spot because I don't want this falling on my camera. Yeah, I got it, guys. Okay, guys, so there it is. I'll just quickly show you how I got it out. So I bent the middle. I bent it like this, right? And once I had it like that, I was able to slide the back out. And once I slid the back out, I was able to grab this. And see, there's like a hole in there. And there's like a pin on the transmission that goes in there. So I basically like pulled it out. Came right out, guys. I checked all my universal joints here. There's no play in anything. These are perfect. So I don't have to replace anything here, guys. I can just put this axle onto my beautiful white car over there, guys, wherever it is. So I'm just quickly gonna show you what the transmission side looks like, and then we're gonna move on. Okay, guys, so that's what the back of the differential looks like. Nothing complicated there, so that just came right out. And then the transmission side, guys, see, there is like this like pin, see it? So this was inside the drive axle. So when we put this back on, we're gonna put a little bit of bearing grease on there so it goes in nice. And otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. This thing's looking good. If this has any like major cracks in it or anything, then you have to replace it. In our case, it doesn't need to be replaced either. There's no play. Everything seems good, right? Like you would take this and move it up and down. Nothing, everything's great. The seal's not leaking because we had lots of transmission fluid. everything's looking good, guys. This tranny should be good. Okay, we're moving on, guys. Okay, guys, so what we're gonna do next, in your case, you wouldn't touch this stuff right now, but in my case, this stuff is like all caved in and broken. This is sound barrier. If it's like this on the white car that the transmission's going into, I'm just gonna throw all this out, whatever. I don't care if my car's a little bit louder. But what I'm gonna do right now off camera, there's a few little clips like this. I'm gonna grab some pliers, loosen all these, and I'm just gonna get rid of this so you guys can see better. Plus it's really getting in my way. I don't even care if I rip it or break it. I'm pulling it out. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. Okay guys, so it was not easy. This stuff is nasty. It's all falling apart. It made such a mess. I'm covered in it. Wear safety goggles and a respirator, honestly. But we got it all out. I cut it into like 100 pieces to get it out, but so now we got good access, guys. Okay, I'm gonna clean up all this and we're moving on. All right, everything's nice and clean. Tools are put away. Nice fresh start here. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna lower this transmission. So I already lowered it quite a bit. And you basically wanna lower it to a point where, here, I'm gonna show you up top here, and we're gonna go by the hood. See, so as you're lowering it, the engine's going like this, right? So there's a spot here where it kinda basically hits like the firewall, see? So you wanna lower it, you know, gently, so basically it's almost touching there. That should do it, guys. That's what we're gonna do. Okay, a few more turns should do it. All right, that's good right there. Okay, guys, so we got this thing lowered just the way I said. See, and I mean, we can get all the bolts we need to up there to get the transmission off. But the first thing we got to do, guys, is we have to remove this rod. So what you want to do is you want to kind of lift the tranny up a little bit until this gets loose. See, that looks good right there. So you can play around with it. You don't want any like pressure on it. There, she's loose now. So now right here, guys, look, I will show you. See, this is like a clip. So this clip, see, comes out like that. When we put all this back together, we're gonna put like anti-seize on everything, so everything moves super good. Clean it up with a wired brush, right? So that, and then this just comes out. Well, it's supposed to come out. We're gonna spray some WD-40 on there and try to get it out. So we're gonna do the same thing over there. See, over here, same kind of clip. So I'm gonna take that clip off. Might even have to use a screwdriver. And then we're gonna spray some WD-40 on this and try to pry this out sideways. Okay guys, so I got both those clips off. So there is supposed to be little washers, see? Little skinny washers. This is missing one. You know, I'm sure somebody changed the clutch at some point here. So now anyways, I put a screwdriver in. Just kind of trying to pry this out, right? And you spray some WD-40 in it. Then you grab some pliers, push it back in. You're gonna have to go kind of back and forth a few times with this thing to get it moving. Okay, I'm gonna do this off camera, guys, because I need both my hands to get these off. But the trick is to keep moving it, spraying stuff in there, and eventually it will come out both these sides. I mean, if we can't get it off over there, we can get it off later once the tranny's out. But we have to disconnect this. I mean, we'll see. Maybe we can just take the shifter off if it's stuck and do it off the car, because all this is coming with us because we're doing a swap, right? So we're taking the shifter knob and everything. In your case, if you're just pulling the tranny out, you would just have to disconnect this and unscrew. See, there's a nut and bolt. Unscrew that, and then you're done up here. So I'm gonna remove this right now off camera. Okay guys, I almost got it. Super duper close now. There it is, one out. So we're gonna clean all this good and clean in there. We're gonna anti-seize everything before we put it back together so it moves good in the future. Okay, I'm gonna attempt the other one now. Should be a little bit easier because I can move this whole thing now, see? Okay, I'm gonna do that one off camera. You get the idea. Okay guys, so I got it out. As you can see, there's like a V to it. So it goes on this side of the transmission with the V up, or whatever, V upside down, I guess you could say. Just like that. Okay, next guys, we're gonna try to tackle this nut and bolt here. See, just a nut and bolt. You can get in there with 2 ratchets or 2 wrenches. So I'll loosen that right now. Okay guys, so we got this thing out. See, normally in your case, you would just leave this in here and that's that. And you can pull your transmission out to get to your clutch or whatever it is that you're doing. But in our case, we have to take this out because we are doing a manual swap from an automatic, right? So what I will do is I'm gonna remove the transmission, and at the end of the video, if you're still interested, I'll show you how to remove this part. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do, guys, is we lowered the transmission a little bit more, and now we're gonna get in here, and there is our starter bolt, see? So we're gonna get to that. There's the other starter bolt, we got it out. I believe there's a bolt missing there. I guess somebody changed the clutch at some point. This one's different, but one's there. And then all the bottom ones we can obviously get to. See, there's 2 there, 1 there, and there's like 2 on this side. You can get to everything, guys, using your E torque specs sockets, right? 12 millimeter for some of them. I'll let you know all the sizes as we're doing it. For now, we're just gonna remove the starter. So use that, and you're gonna use like a whole whack of extensions, guys, so we can get to it. See, guys, basically like this with our extensions, and then we can hammer this on, right? Because remember how that bolt was kind of stripped. So we're gonna get it on and then hammer it in. There's definitely enough room. So I'm gonna obviously do this off camera. So I'm gonna hammer that on. I'm gonna put a ratchet on this and just pull it. Should come right off. Okay, guys, let's see if she's on all the way. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, I'm gonna throw a bar and I'm gonna try to loosen that, guys. Oh my God, it feels like it's gonna break. Okay, it does feel like it's gonna break. Okay guys, so I am gonna take the blowtorch because I can feel that that bolt's gonna snap or strip. And I'm just gonna heat up just right there a little bit. It's the starter, but what can you really do? I'm just gonna give it heat for like, I don't know, 30 seconds in that one spot with my torch. Not too crazy. Obviously I have a fire extinguisher close. It's not the safest spot, but I'm doing it. Okay guys, I got the flame set really low so it doesn't go everywhere. I'm gonna do that for 1 whole minute after all. It looks pretty good. Nothing seems to be around it. That should do it. Okay, so I'm gonna keep heating it up here. Okay, it's turning. Very barely. Oh, I feel like it's gonna bust, but it is turning. Okay, so you've seen it turned a little bit. It did feel like it was gonna break. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna spray some WD-40 on it from the top, and I'm gonna screw it back in and then screw it back out. And I'm just gonna do that over and over. Like, guys, that's the trick here. I'm telling you, she's gonna break. Somebody definitely over tightened this. Okay guys, you get the idea with that. So I think I'm gonna leave that out of the video. I'm just gonna screw it in, screw it out, screw it in, screw it out until it comes out. I don't think I'm gonna show that. Okay, so I'm gonna skip that. I'm gonna get that bolt out. Okay guys, I've been struggling with this bolt probably 15 minutes now. So with each time it's going more and more, but honestly this thing right here is like completely in my way. I'm gonna go inside and quickly remove it. Nothing to it, guys. Okay, let's do that really quick. It is in the way. I'm just gonna remove it, guys. Okay guys, so basically you go inside, you grab your shift knob, and don't hit yourself in the face because it just pops off, but you gotta pull it up. Ah! And there it goes. That's how you get this part off. And this part, because we're gonna need this part for our car. See, this comes right off, just like that. So we'll be able to reuse this. We're gonna reuse this. We might buy a nicer knob eventually. So these are the 2 things you're gonna need. There's this like foam thing in here. Can we get it out? like this? I don't know, let's find out. Yeah, so we got the foam thing out. So I mean, obviously I'm gonna remember from this video how it goes back in. And this thing, see right here, there's the rubber boot, which this one is a little bit broken. I mean, whatever, it's not the end of the world. We could get a new one. We'll see how much it costs and if it's easy to get. See, that just comes out like that. Sure, I can get a new one of these. So it goes this way down, see? That way down. Okay, should be able to pull this right out, guys. I'm gonna go underneath now. Okay, guys, so I do have another parts car. So I just pulled this thing out of it and it's good. But I realized that it was put on wrong, actually, guys. Okay, let me go show you. Okay, guys, so first of all, for reassembly, if you look at this stick here, see, it's got like a bend to it at the bottom. See, it bends, like it goes up and it bends. So you want it to bend backwards. Like it wouldn't be like this, get it? It doesn't bend forwards, it bends backwards like so. So that's your like neutral position, right? See, there it is from the top. So that's number one. Okay, number two, this thing was on upside down. So the way this works is the skinny part goes onto there. And see this part here? That part goes around this thing, get it? So what you would do is like you would wipe this up really good and you would fill this up with bearing grease. So it moves nice and smooth and it's got oil in it. So that's what we're gonna do when we're reassembling it. And then you put this guy on. And also this thing has an arrow on it. The arrow is right here, guys, somewhere. I just saw it. Oh, there it is, sorry. See the arrow? So that arrow goes forwards towards the front of the car. Because this thing does have like a unique off-center shape to it. See? It's not right in the middle. And if you notice, when this gear shifter is perfectly set up like that, well, this is a bad example because that thing's detached, but anyways, that's how you would put this on, this way with the arrow facing forwards. Okay, guys, let's go underneath. We're gonna pull this whole assembly out, guys. So it's great having parts cars because I bet you this is like X amount of dollars, and for me it was free. Okay, guys, so then you just basically same thing here. We're gonna put bearing grease on this, make it all nice. So then this should just come right out like this. So we got our shifter knob out, guys, no problem. And also inside of here, see, there's like a rubber, some kind of rubber thing in there. So we're just gonna leave it. This one is actually, I'm looking at it, it seems a little cracked, see? So I don't know if I'm gonna leave it or not. I don't want to mess with it. We'll see what's in the parts car, if we're gonna leave it or not. But it's still solid, it works, so we'll probably just leave that alone. Plus I wonder if this is gonna be in the other car. I guess we'll find out once we're doing the other car. Okay, guys, just back to this thing before we move on. So I am wondering if the automatic car is gonna have that in it, and I honestly don't know. So what you're gonna have to do, guys, when I'm doing the swap, guys, I'm gonna have another video where I'm gonna be taking an automatic transmission out of the BMW, the white one. So in that video, I'm gonna talk about that little piece or not, and I'm also gonna have, you know, a video where I reinstall this manual transmission into that car, and that's gonna involve the wiring part of it, what you have to do to the computer to make it all work. Everything will be, I should have it covered in 3 videos, guys. So in the description of this video, there'll be a link to a playlist for the transmission swap, and there's also going to be a link to the whole entire playlist, every episode in a row, of the restoration of this beautiful car here, guys. We're going to make this thing look brand new. So follow season 2 of my show, guys. That will be season 2. Okay, let's get back to work. Okay, so as you can see, we got way more room now. So I'm going to keep working on this one bolt here. I'm going to move on from this bolt now. Okay, guys, well, good news and bad news. That bolt actually just snapped. But it snapped in a way where it didn't strip. It snapped inside of the starter. So see, when I pull it out, it's still in the starter, and that part of the bolt, it's not in there, it fell out. So we're good. That was tough to get out. I don't know why that bolt was so hard. I can't even believe it broke. I had it going back and forth. I did everything I was supposed to, and it still broke. Okay, guys, let's move on. So this starter's out of the way. Make sure your battery's disconnected, obviously. At this point, you would know that. Let's move on. Okay, guys, next on the left side of this transmission here is the clutch cylinder. You see it right there, guys? Very easy access to it. You just get a 13 millimeter with a super long extension. See, like this. 2 bolts, and you pull it off. One there, one there. So in your case, you would just take this thing and move it off to the side, right? But in our case, we need to pull this whole thing out. So I'll move it off to the side, and then at the end of this video, I will show you how to pull this guy out. Everything you need to know. But for now, we're just gonna put it off to the side like we're just removing the transmission. Okay, guys, so we got it out. So all we're gonna do for now is we're gonna zip tie it off to the side over here somewhere. So I'll do that right now. Okay, guys, got that zip tied off to the side, looking good. So now on the right side of the transmission, guys, there is a switch. This is your reverse switch. This lets your car know when you're in reverse, and it turns the reverse lights on. So you need to unplug this. There's just a thing you press, just like all the other switches on BMWs. And this thing will just come right off. Super easy. So in our case, we're gonna trace this wire back as far as it goes, somewhere up there under the hood, and we're gonna cut it because we're gonna need this, guys. We're gonna need this wire to put into that car to make the reverse light works. Don't worry, it's very, very easy wiring. There's only basically like 4 wires you have to wire in. I'll show that in the reassembly video, or the swap video, whatever it's going to be called. There will be a link in the description, guys. Okay, so I'm going to trace this back, cut it with some scissors, and then we're moving on. Okay, guys, so there it is. We're going to need this wire. So believe it or not, guys, we're actually ready to pull the transmission off. So in some cases, like I'm reading the manual here, let me just show you. They're telling you to like use an engine hoist and have the engine supported from the hoist and all this. I honestly don't see the point of that. Worst comes to worst, the engine's just gonna rest against the firewall here. It ain't going nowhere. As far as I can tell, it's low enough. We're just gonna unbolt it. So obviously we're gonna put that big red jack underneath the transmission here to like support the weight of it. We're gonna exchange it for that one, and we should be able to unbolt it, guys. Let's go underneath really quick. Yeah, guys, so I mean, as you can see, we got access to all the bolts. There's just a few around. I showed them earlier. See what I mean? Let's zoom in on them. Yeah, we can access them all just using long extensions. So we're just gonna put a jack under here, and we should be able just to unscrew it and pull it out. You don't want it hanging by the output shaft or input shaft. You want to make sure the jack is supporting it. You want to have the jack in this direction, so that way you can drive it backwards, right? Like you want to support it and then drive it out. That's the best advice I can give you guys. Hopefully no bolts break like they did on that starter. But so what I'm going to do for now, before I even grab the jack, is I'm just going to loosen a few of these. I'm still going to leave like one on that side, one on the other side, but I'm going to take all the other bolts out. So I'm just going to do that off camera, guys, unless I have some kind of weird complication, then I'll be right back. But I'm going to take most of them out right now. Okay, guys, we got the transmission to a point where literally there's one bolt holding it. I just want to show you 2 things, guys. Okay, so the bolts. So the starter bolts was the E12 socket. The transmission bolts, 3 of them are the E11 socket, and then the big transmission bolts are 14E sockets. So that's that. In our case, there's one bolt up here. Let me just show you. See, there's one left, but I don't think that's the original bolt, guys. See? So we're gonna get that one off now. So we're gonna put the jack underneath and do that. So this is the thing that I wanted to show you though, guys. Okay, I'm just gonna take this transmission here and watch. I'm gonna lift it up. See, remove this jack and see, look. See, the motor is holding it. The motor is resting up top there on the firewall, just like I showed you. See, look. So as long as you lower it slowly, there's tons and tons and tons of room, guys. So I'm gonna get that red jack, set it all up here, and remove that last bolt, guys. And once that last bolt is removed, we're just gonna pull on it with some gloves and it should just pop right out. Okay, guys, all the bolts are out. The only thing holding it right now is just nothing. Okay, so I mean, it shouldn't be that heavy. I got the jack there. Maybe I should put it more forwards. It's hard to decide where it's gonna be heavy. Let's try that. Okay, I'm gonna stick a screwdriver in here and let's see if it'll pop out. There we go, look at that. Nothing to it, guys. All right, there it goes. Okay, guys, let's pull this out. I'll kind of show you what happened, why I was having a hard time coming out. Okay, guys, so this is kind of what happened, why it wasn't coming out. See what happened? The transmission was getting stuck up here, right? But the problem is, so what ended up happening is the second it came off the engine, see, the only thing tilting the engine forward was the weight of the transmission. See, look. So if it was like that, it would have came off no problem. But what happened is the second it popped out, the motor jumped up like that. You see what I mean? And then it got stuck. So if you're doing this yourself, it would have really helped to have a buddy up top push the motor down like this while you're pulling the tranny out. And when we're putting the tranny back on into that car, we know that now, and we'll have somebody pushing it like this. We'll be able to slide it on, and then it'll be good. So that's that, guys. Okay, so what we're doing next, guys, is we're gonna remove the clutch. We're gonna remove this whole clutch system. Guaranteed we're gonna get a new one, but I'm gonna look at it. If it looks absolutely mint, maybe I'll save myself 200 bucks and reuse it, but I'm not gonna, but we're just gonna take it off anyways because I'm gonna need some parts out of it. So let's do that right now. Okay, guys, so yes, I'm about to pull off the clutch. I just wanted to show you something. So like in my case, this car never had a radiator, right? So when this motor tilts, see, this goes up no problem. But in your case, let me show you on the white one. So here it is, right? So in your case, I think the motor still would tilt. See, like, there's room here. This might be in the way. So you would just have to take this cover off. It's like a couple little bolts, and this pops off. I think otherwise you wouldn't have any problems here, guys. And I think even if you kind of, this all has flex to it, eh? So as long as you're guiding these, you should be fine, guys. So you can do it that way. I don't want to steer anybody wrong here, but we will for sure know once we're putting the transmission into this car. Well, we'll even know when we're pulling this one out. So you make sure you watch that episode, especially if you're doing a swap, guys. Okay. And, you know, if you're putting your clutch in and all that, it's all going to be in that episode, right? Like this episode's about pulling it out. The next episode's going to be about pulling the automatic transmission out of the white one. And then the third episode of this series with the transmission is going to be about putting that transmission into this car, guys. It's going to have everything that you need and how to do it, the whole thing. Okay, let's get back to the clutch. Okay, guys, so in order to get this clutch off, so right here, see, you put your bolt back in. I mean, that's one way to do it. So you put your bolt back in all the way, your transmission bolt. You grab yourself a flat bar, right? And then you can put the flat bar in like this. See, like flat bar is one of these things. See, like that, and then it's locked. And you're gonna have to get a buddy to hold it really tight, or you can try it on your own. And that locks the engine from spinning, right? And then as you're holding that, you're gonna grab yourself, you know, one of these Allen key kind of sockets here. See what I mean? And those just go into these. See? And you're gonna go around and you're gonna loosen all these. And you know what's crazy, guys? Some of these look really kind of stripped, but they're coming off. And I noticed, this is nuts, but these are all loose. Look, I haven't even touched this one, watch. They're all completely loose. So that's one thing. And the second thing is, guys, the dust in here. It's very poisonous. You don't want to breathe it. You don't want to blow compressed air on it. If anything, you're going to use brake cleaner on it. If you notice dust coming off, wear a respirator, guys. You don't want to breathe that stuff. It will give you cancer. Okay, so I'm going to go around. I'm going to pull all those off. And then we're going to pull this off, guys. So I'm going to do that right now. Just going to go around and unbolt them. Okay, guys, I got all the bolts off. Screwdriver. Okay, guys, so there is our clutch. And I mean, this clutch is basically brand new. It looks like somebody changed all this and then parked the car, because remember, all the vacuums were disconnected and stuff. It never drove right again. Like, this is very good shape, honestly. Even if you look here, guys, look, there's even writing on it still. Like, this is basically brand new. Unfortunately, guys, the flywheel, not so much. Let me go show you. Okay, guys, so there it is. It's got like grooves in it. Looks like somebody drove it on a bad clutch and it scratched it up. It's not flat. Like, this is supposed to be completely flat, like a mirror look to it. And it's not. It's got like humps to it. Normally that clutch would be garbage that I just showed you, but like I said, it looks like they only drove it like maybe 5 times. So anyways, we're gonna pull this off. I'll tell you what your options are if yours is like this, but you can't run it like this. Okay, let's pull it off. So we're gonna lock it with the crowbar here, and we're gonna start unscrewing these guys. Okay, guys, you just put a 19mm on like so. Put your crowbar in right here. And there you go, just like that, guys. And there is a special tool to hold this, just so you know. I'll put a link in the description. You could just buy a tool that holds these teeth, but that flat bar works fine. Okay, I'm gonna pull all those off now. Okay, guys, so I got all those bolts off. I'm about to pull the flywheel off, but I just want to point something out. This is kind of important, especially if you're going to reuse stuff. See, I put a line on there when I took it off, and on the actual flywheel, see, I also put a line right there. You want to put everything back on the same way that it came off. And also, when you pull your flywheel off, you want to pull it off and you want to mark it so it goes back on the same way onto your engine. Because this is balanced with the engine. So if you're gonna use this engine, you wanna put it back the same way. In our case, we're putting this on a different engine, right? So you can just put it however, but we're still gonna mark it, because you never know. Maybe one day this engine will end up in that car, right? So if it does, then we'll put it on right. But that's that with that anyway. So in your case, like let's say you were just changing your clutch and this was perfect, you wouldn't have to pull this off. But if it looks anything like that, and if you feel any unsmoothness to it, you got to pull it off, guys. So we're going to pull it off and I'll show you what to do with it next. Okay, guys, so there it is. So as you can see, there's like pitting in it. Can you see that? So you got a few options. You can buy a new flywheel like this. They're about $1,000, $1,200. I did go on Rock Auto, and they have a kit where you get a clutch. You get everything you need and a flywheel. It's like 600 Canadian plus shipping plus duty. So I'm looking at about 700 bucks. Well, our whole entire project here, guys, including this car and that parts car and that parts car there, has cost us 1,800 bucks so far. We paid 1,300 bucks for this white beauty here. Everything's broken on it. And we paid 500 bucks for both the parts cars. So I don't really want to spend $700 on a clutch, especially when I have a brand new clutch sitting right there in front of me, guys. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring this thing here to the machine shop. And what they're gonna do is they're gonna pull these dwells out and they're gonna shave this part off so it's perfectly straight. And they're also gonna take an equal amount off on this edge here to make up for it. They're gonna pull these out, shave this, put these back on, and they're charging us $80 to do that, guys. So that's the absolute cheapest way to do it. And then as far as this pilot bearing goes here, well, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a good bearing, it feels right, doesn't make any noises, it spins good, but we're gonna have to get a new one because there's no way we're getting that out. These are both $15, so we can get a new one there. Okay, guys, and as far as the transmission goes, and this is very, very, very important, guys, so pay close attention. So, see right here is the pivot ball. So this release bearing, we're gonna reuse. This thing, there's no play in it, doesn't make any noises. We're obviously gonna clean this, grease this up a little bit, and we're gonna reuse that. The fork is also in very good shape. We'll clean it, reuse that. But the pivot ball, guys, so the pivot ball right here, the spring seems okay. It's rusty, but we're gonna replace it. And we're also gonna replace the pivot ball. Look how worn out that is, guys. Somebody actually changed the clutch on this thing without changing the pivot ball. This is what it's supposed to look like, guys. Look at the difference. So now they make them out of brass. They don't make them out of plastic anymore. So remember, when you're changing the clutch, always change this guy. And the spring we could reuse, but I ordered a new spring anyways. So that's what we're changing there, guys. Okay, I'm gonna grab that flywheel right now, guys. Go to the machine shop. I'm gonna fast forward till I have it. I just want to show you guys what it looks like. So that will be in this video still. And we still got a few things to do, guys, when we get back. Okay, guys, there is one more thing I have to mention that I forgot to mention. So this is a dual mass flywheel, which means, see, this moves like this. See? So what you got to do is you put two lines here. This is how you test it. You put a line here like so, a line here like so, and then you see how much it moves. So it's allowed to move. Like, this is very little movement. It's basically moving like half of a tooth, maybe one tooth, see? If it moves anywhere, if it moves 3 teeth over, then this thing is worn out too much. The springs inside of it are worn out. But if you're only moving it like a tooth and a half, 2 teeth even, it's still good. So this one's really good shape, guys. So we're definitely bringing it to the machine shop and getting it resurfaced or shaved because it's still good. So just showing you that, guys. Okay, guys, I'm loading up, going to the machine shop, but don't worry, I'm gonna fast forward till the moment we're back with this thing. Boom, guys, and just like that, we're a few hours in the future, guys, and in the end, they only charge us 50 bucks. Not bad at all. So check it out. It's nice and smooth and machined. So this thing is ready to go back in, guys. No problems. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, guys, is we're gonna take a break from this stuff and we're gonna move on to removing the clutch pedal and that kind of stuff, guys. Let me take you there right now. Okay, guys, so in this part of the video, we're gonna move on to how to remove the clutch pedal for our conversion, and also the brake is actually part of it. This is one system, so I'll show you how to take that out. And another part that's connected to that is the clutch cylinder, guys. This is what presses your clutch in when you press on your pedal. So I'm gonna cover both of these at the same time because they're part of each other. And I mean, let's say your transmission's still in and you're just trying to take your pedals out. At least this way you'll understand how to hook up a new one or whatever. This is very informative of the way I'm gonna do it. Okay, let's get started right away. Okay, guys, the first thing we're gonna do is a Phillips head there, Phillips head there. We're gonna pull this cover off, guys. No big deal. Okay, guys, so that just comes off. Pretty straightforward. Now we just gotta unplug this little speaker here, just like that. Boom, and that's done. And then we just pull this right out, guys. Boom, and just like that, it's gone. Okay, guys, next we're taking this metal thing off. Couple 10 mils on an extension or on a screwdriver. And just like that, it's off. Now we just gotta remove this little thing, couple Phillips heads. So I'll do that right now. Okay, guys, so next what we're gonna do is, see, there's two plugs on here. So we're gonna unplug this one and this one. But guys, what we gotta do is this plug, like this wire part, we're gonna cut it as far as it'll go. And this we gotta bring with us, because we're gonna have to wire this into our white car over there, guys, when we convert it to a manual, which is what we're doing. This is like when you push your clutch in all the way and you turn your key, your starter will go, right? But if you're not pressing this and you turn your key, it won't do nothing. So it's like a safety neutral switch. You can bypass it. Some cars don't even have it, but if you want to keep it, you're going to need this wire. And later in the video where I install the transmission and put everything into that car, don't worry, guys, I will show you step by step on how to do everything. Okay, let's get back to it. I'm going to unhook those and I'll show you what's next. Okay, guys, next we got on the clutch on the side here. See, we got this little clip that needs to come off. So we got one there, and also we got one there. I apologize for the focus on the brake, because the brake and the clutch is one thing. And in our case, we're careful not to press this, because we don't, like, our cylinder here is out. We don't want that little stick popping out of it. So we're not pressing the clutch since our transmission is already out. We'll get to that later. Okay, so I'm gonna remove these two clips. Okay, guys, so we got those off, obviously. So now you know how to do those. See, there's one right here on the side of the clutch here. So we're gonna disconnect that. Okay, guys, so now there is a screw. See these like two switches? So they're in the way of being able to release this pedal, see, from this thing. See, when you push it. So we need to release this from this, and also the brake, right, from that same thing. See, there's like a pin that needs to come out. So anyway, so what we need to do, guys, is watch on the side here. See these two switches? So if you go on this side, see, look, you go in here. Let me zoom out a little bit for you. See, right in there. See that nut? That 10 millimeters got to come out, guys. Easy to get to just with a socket and a 10 millimeter. So I'm gonna take that out right now. See, look, just right there. It's on the other side of these two switches, just right there. Okay, guys, so the second I unscrewed that screw, this came off. And I did just realize I did make a mistake. So yeah, this is for your brake, and it's also for your cruise control. So the second you tap your brake, it turns your cruise control off, and it's for your brake lights. This one here, when you press the clutch, it also cuts your cruise control out. And I believe the switch for the safety neutral switch is that switch, see, which is also held on by that same screw. So, I mean, this video is about pulling all this out, right? So we're gonna pull this out and that clutch cylinder out and everything under the hood. And then as far as connecting all this later to the manual transmission that's going into that car, don't worry, guys, I will have a video on that, and there'll be a link in the description. And also that will be in the long version of the video where I put the transmission, the automatic the manual transmission into the automatic car, and I'm going to show every single little detail right in that video. Anyway, guys, let's continue. So now with that switch out, see, we can just push this thing right out. See, just like that. No big deal. Free the pedal basically from the power brakes, right? And then here we can do the same thing. We'll be able to push this out now inwards. See? In 3, or outwards, inwards? Yeah, inwards. You have to push the clutch a little bit. See? Okay, so I'm gonna pull that off with both my hands off camera, and then I'll show you what's next. So I'm pulling that out now. And boom, that's out now. So now see this spring in the back, remember guys? So the second we pull this pedal out, see that all fell out. I will show you how all that goes later. There's a piece like this, and there's a spring. Okay guys, so now up here, see there's 1 bolt, and then there's 4 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're gonna unscrew all those guys. I'm doing that right now. And boom, all of those are out guys. So you would think, like this thing is almost ready to come out, but there's 1 more bolt guys. So on this side over here, remember how we took this bolt out for that switch and the other switch? So see if you look in here, look, there's 1 more bolt, see it? So we have to get to that bolt, and then see this whole part here, so that will disconnect it from the pedal basically. See, it's attached down there. Anyways, yeah, you can see it good. Okay, so we're gonna do that right now. Okay guys, so we got that bolt out. This switch came out too with that bolt. So now see up here, see there's like these wires are in the way. See what I mean? Look. So what you gotta do is there's a couple like factory zip ties here. See, there's 1 there, and there's 1 on the other side. So we gotta cut these. Be very careful not to cut any of the wires. I'm sure we'll have to do the same thing in the white car that we're converting to manual. I'm gonna cut those. That should move these wires out of the way, and this whole thing should come out. It's close now. I think the wires are the only thing holding it. So I'm gonna cut those right now, guys. Okay, guys, so this part here is disconnected now. The wires, see, they move a lot once you cut those zip ties off. This should just come right out. Let's see. And there it is, guys. What else is holding it? Nothing. Just those wires. The brake booster a little bit. Just gotta maneuver it out, guys. All right. Okay, let me show you everything about it. So the way these clips work is, so you got this guy, right? So that was in there like that. So the clip just slides on. See how it's locked in, right? And to get it off, you open this. There, see? Okay guys, so I'll just quickly show you how this setup works. See, there's like a thing like this that fell out, so that goes there, right? And this thing goes like this, right? And then obviously the spring goes on here. Like once all the clips are in, this stays in place, but it won't stay in now. So it goes like this, that goes there, get it? And then when you push this pedal back, that goes on there. I don't want to push it in there right now, but that's how that goes, guys. So I'll show all this in the reassembly video, or I should say in the transmission automatic to manual swap video. Okay guys, now we're going to remove the clutch master cylinder. We have to transplant it into the other car. This is what we're going to need. So there it is right here, right? This thing here. Okay, so the first thing we got to do is underneath the hood here, what we got to do is we have to disconnect this hose. See, we're going to disconnect that. Fluid's going to come out for a second, and then see, I got another hose right here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to plug that and then just put this up high so the fluid doesn't make a big giant mess. So I'm just going to grab this with some needle nose pliers, twist it back and forth, pop it off, throw this on. I'll do that off camera really quick right now. Okay guys, so now that we got that disconnected right here, see? Okay, we're gonna go underneath the car. Okay, so we got this thing hanging here that we took off the transmission, right? So what we're gonna do is follow this line back here, and what we gotta do, guys, is we need to disconnect this rubber hose from this clutch line, I guess we'll call it. So there's a socket there that's gonna go on. Let me just see what size they are. Okay guys, so we got an 11 mil and a 17 mil. Okay, I'm gonna loosen these off camera. Gotta basically disconnect that. Some brake fluid's gonna come out, obviously. No big deal. Okay guys, so there it is. I got it off. This is disconnected now, as you can see, sorta. Here, let me just show you better. Like, this is all stuff you're gonna have to take out at the junkyard or buy brand new, or your parts car to do this conversion. See, we got that out. Okay, so now we're gonna let that drip, and then we're just gonna put some tape on that, on this, so no dirt gets inside of it. Because I plan on reusing all of this, guys, to save money. Okay guys, so we got that hose disconnected and taped up underneath. So now our goal here is to pull this guy out, right? Let me just show you on the side here, if you can see that. See, there is one of the hoses that goes in, see? That's the one we disconnected from the brake reservoir right there. I'm hoping we can just pull it out, and then in the other car we'll be able to push it through using a clothes hanger method or something. Okay, let's go back inside. Okay, and then the metal brake line or clutch line goes in from the back. So what you got to do now is you got to lift this, then you got to take a screwdriver, and we have to like unattach this. See? You get what I'm saying? And kind of pull on it. We're pulling it inwards, not outwards. So we're going to pull it in towards yourself. Might have to disconnect that hose if it doesn't want to come out. See? It's coming. The whole thing's coming. See, now this has movement. So we're going to pull this out enough where we can unscrew that metal line from it. Okay, I'm going to try to pull this off camera, guys. Okay, guys, so just for the sake of this video, and this is a parts car, so I don't really care. I cut this stuff away. So now you can really see what's going on here, see? So I pulled this rubber thing out. I pulled this rubber thing out. So, you know, I can just pull this hose right through. See, and then this, see, comes out enough now where I can unscrew this, get it? And then I can put this part inside of the other car, screw it back together here, and, you know, install this into the other car, this whole setup. Pretty straightforward, guys. Okay, I'm just going to figure out how to disconnect this, and I'll let you guys know, because I can't really see just yet. Okay, guys, so I figured out how to separate this. Hopefully you can see. Yeah, you can. Okay, so you push this little clip out. See, look. Push it out enough where you can get the screwdriver. Like, you might have to use two screwdrivers in two hands, right? So you push it on the bottom, see how it pops out, and then you pull that out, and this will just slide off. I'm sure there's like an O-ring in there. See? So I'm gonna separate this off camera, unfortunately, because I don't have a cameraman. Not yet. One day, maybe I will. Okay, let me do that. Okay, guys, I pulled that clip out, and there it is, just like I said. See, there's an O-ring right on that, see? So this all looks reusable. This boot's broken, but I mean, everything worked. We'll see what we do. It's not, the point isn't, oh, it's gotta be new. The point is, one, to get it working, two, I'm showing you, you know, what you need. Like, you might be able to buy this thing, but can you buy that hose? Can you buy this hose? It all adds up super, super quick. Okay, guys, I'm gonna pull this out of the car now. I think I can get it out inside, no problem. But first, we're gonna tape this up so nothing falls inside with some tape. Okay, guys, and just like that, I pulled this thing out. Really wasn't anything to it. So guess what, guys? Pretty much, I got everything figured out for this conversion. The only thing I still don't really know is the cruise control. I'll figure that out though, no big deal, before we do the installation into the white BMW. And the second thing underneath, guys, right here where the shifter was, right? I just don't know if we're gonna have to pull this rubber thing out or not. So you'll have to watch the video where we put all of this stuff into that white beauty there, guys. And don't worry, I got plans for it. It's gonna look incredible, and we're doing it on a budget of only $3,000, guys. So far, including getting the flywheel machined, we are at $1,880, guys, Canadian. That's not bad at all. That's like $1,400 American to have a nice car like that. Okay, let me just quickly tell you, if you're made it this far, guys, you might as well hang on one more minute. So if you are into these cars and you like repair videos where we actually show everything, make sure you check out all the episodes on this car right from day one, guys. I got like a whole series on this. This is actually season 2. In season 1, I completely restored this Corvette. Everything was broken on it, every single system. I got about 30 episodes, guys. So that's season 1, guys. That's season 2. And also I got a whole bunch of random episodes about just whatever, scooters, this, that. So throw me a subscription, guys, in the description if you like those cars. I will have a whole season of it. I will also have some random videos, like for example, the video I made today with all the information I gave you. Like I might turn that into a short video as well about just removing the pedals or something like that. But obviously you're watching the long version of it. So thanks for watching Problem Solver Garage, guys. Till next time, check out season 1, check out season 2, subscribe, like. Thanks for watching, guys. Till next time, everybody. You know what, guys? I don't know if I need this thing or not, but just in case. See, that's the front of the car. I'm putting a screwdriver in like this. Well, that seemed to have come out. Okay, guys, well, as you can see, I got it out. I'm guessing the other car is not going to have this. There's a little arrow on it. The arrow faces forwards. And then that thing, see, there's like little slits on the sides. They go in there. Yeah, I could see this popping right back in. I'm sure this part will be on the car. So now I can basically lower the car, guys, because everything down here is done.
I love Problem Solver Garage.